Every year on March 21, the 21st day of March has been selected to signify the uniqueness of the triplication of the 21st chromosome, which causes Down syndrome. The day is aimed at reflecting on the plight of people with Down syndrome, raise awareness, and call upon every individual to respect their rights and also fight stigma and discrimination. On this day, the Down syndrome community and all of us create a single voice advocating. I want to emphasize that word advocating. Advocacy is very important. It's not only people who live with disability who should voice concerns about people living with disabilities, but we need to have champions in our society, in the world at large, for the issues around disability rights, inclusion, non-discrimination, fighting stigma, and we can all become champions in that manner. The theme today is We Decide, and I would like to ask people to decide to be champions. The theme is inspired by the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, which supports effective and meaningful participation as a core human right. The day is a global awareness event officially observed by United Nations since 2012. Down syndrome is still misunderstood, and this is shown by a range of prejudices and stigmas faced by people with Down syndrome. These emanate from myths and misconceptions which foster the marginalization and social exclusion of people with Down syndrome. It is for these reasons that Zimbabwe as a nation needs to raise awareness and protect our fellow citizens against discrimination and abuse. They are right holders like any other citizen of our country and indeed of the international community. Zimbabwe's constitution, whose founding values and principles recognizes the inherent dignity and equal worth of all human beings, compels the government to cater for the needs of all minority groups, including people living with disabilities, and indeed the community that we are celebrating here today. Section 22 and 83 of the Constitution have comprehensive provisions for inclusivity, which allows for equal opportunity of all persons with disabilities in all spheres of life. As such, the government, through my ministry, calls upon such organizations like Zimke Trust and Zimbabwe Down Syndrome Association to continue partnerships in demystifying misconceptions and myths that result in persons with disabilities and with Down syndrome being discriminated against. Zimke has a total of 14 centers throughout the provinces, and these centers provide education and life skills training for persons with Down syndrome. Disability programming should move away from the charity model and embrace the human rights-based approach, where the empowerment of persons with disability and Down syndrome becomes paramount. Like I said before, we will not have optimal development if we leave out the constituency of people living with disabilities and indeed those with Down syndrome. It is the state's responsibility through the Disabled Persons Act, Chapter 17.01. Let me also hasten to say that we are making this act more robust. It is already before the Cabinet Committee on Legislation and will soon be going to full Cabinet before it goes to Parliament. We are making it more robust and realigning it with the Constitution of Zimbabwe 2013, and it ensures that persons with disabilities, including those with Down syndrome, receive social protection services. The Act also provides for the formulation and development of measures and policies designed to ensure that persons with disabilities live independent lives and that they have access to social services. We are running a program for small grants for entrepreneurial projects that persons with disabilities can access through our Department of Disability Services. In addition, the government of Zimbabwe continues in its provision of services such as purchasing of assistive technologies, availing of administrative and per capita grants to institutions supporting people with disabilities, provision of vocational training fees, among other social protection services, and indeed that grant program that I just mentioned. However, the Ministry of Public Service, Labor and Social Welfare cannot do it alone. Thus, an enabling environment has been put in place to accommodate assistance from partners, including government ministries, non-governmental organizations, development partners, and the private sector. These awareness-raising campaigns and programs become effective when those with disabilities meaningfully participate and are made to celebrate such days as this one we are celebrating here. Consideration should be taken for the inclusion of persons with Down syndrome in all sectors of life, even in the current COVID-19 situation, where there is also need to ensure that they get information on the available regulations and that they adhere to them. The skit that was done here shows indeed that such information is getting down to them and they are practicing the same. May I, at this point, encourage all Zimbabweans to be part of the disability awareness movement and ensure the upholding of the rights of persons with disabilities, including those with Down syndrome, whom we celebrate on 21 March of every year. I thank you. God bless you. And indeed, God bless our beautiful nation, Zimbabwe. I thank you. I will stay